I'm just going to start the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is Mokwena. I am your host. I do this every Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon. And then Monday to Wednesday, we do a night shift, which comes on at 8 p.m. Tonight's going to be pretty dope. I've got a surprise that we are going to get to enjoy. If you do want to watch any of the previous episodes and see anything we've spoken about before, with the panels that I have and on the show, really interesting topics we've discussed, you can find them on Facebook and on YouTube. So I urge you, follow this page, follow the Facebook page, and subscribe to the YouTube channel in order to support me best. There's also some really cool content that is up on those two places that is not available on TikTok because it's just too long. It's Kabetsi and Frank. I'm good, my brother. I'm good. So it's Monday. You know what Monday is? I can't speak about certain teams that went shown live. I can't speak about them. I can't speak about people that went over. At least Sundowns did well. There's another team that went to Botswana. And Ramu Rebuli showed them some flames. So once those games start being live, man, we will show them and speak about them. But shout out to King joining Galaxy, and Ramu Rebuli. It's very interesting. One of these days I want to speak about Pirates because this was one of the questions I asked about having a big enough team. But sequelapo. As you know, Mondays we start off with our our dear coaches, and we hear what they had to say for themselves in the press conferences. Then we'll go from there. So first up is John Maruka.
Good evening. Very good point for us. Playing away from home. When it comes to the game itself, very tactical game. I think Chiefs had their moments that they could have hit us, but we had also the moments that would have hit us first half. When the game started, we knew that they would take the game to us, and they did exactly that. We managed to defend that and try to play, from transition, from defense to attack, which, from those also, yes, not many chances that we created, but we had about 2 or 3. I remember Pele, had one. Tigas also had one. I think it was Rosek also had one. So second half we improved. We improved because we knew that as the game progressed and they're not getting the goal that they wanted, they tried to push the players more forward, and which they did. And we knew that we can only play from transition, from that situation. And that's why I said they had their moments, whenever we had the ball from there, we'd go also as quick as possible forward, which, we did also create some chances. And I think if we were sharp enough in the final third, I think we would have also, would have scored. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. Please introduce yourself, the media organization you represent, and ask your question. Thank you. We have a roving mic. Can you please start there at the back?
Thank you, Coach. Following on 5-star performance today, you are alert, sharp, and making spectacular saves. I just want to find out from you, was this tailor-made just to stop Chiefs or fast forward? This is what we must expect throughout the season.
Yeah, good performance from Rulani, the defense as well. Still work in progress, we're still not exactly where I want to be. You can see that there are so many young players coming in the team, and for those young players, to come, and stage that they are okay. It's a process. It is a process, but so far so good, and it's always good, that while you're building or you're introducing new young faces, and you're still also getting points at the same time. So it's work in progress. We are not yet we are not yet where we want to be, but we are happy, with the progress.
Okay. I think I'm going to jump in and then just bring in Ntseki to hear his thoughts. Shout out to Lawrence Kohler for these press conferences. Let's hear what Coach Ntseki had to say.
Thank you, Roger. Good evening, members of the media. I think in terms of the application, we did well. But it's not only about the application. What is important is the product. And playing a game like this, we were looking forward to win this game, to score goals. What we have been working on, we could see coming out. But the biggest challenge we had today was not converting the chances we created. We had better ball possession, better tactical movements in going forward. And also we had aggressive last third entries, but the unfortunate part was the final decision making of the player on the ball in terms of putting the ball behind the net. I think the overall performance of the team, it is something that we can take positives out of it going forward. But I think we are all disappointed that we did not win a game that we have worked so hard to win. And I think it also very important for us when we go back to leave the spirit, because you don't create chances and you don't score, but the most important thing is to have a strong mentality going into the next DSTV matches.
Thank you. Now we open to members of the media to ask questions. We have a rolling mic. You know the drill. Name of your media house and your question. Okay.
Thank you. Mduduzi from Farport. Coach, you gave George a restart. Your thoughts about his performance and what does it bring to the team?
I think his performance has been very good, even from last season. But the unfortunate part, he had too many injuries that also retarded his progress in terms of his game time. And in the preseason, George was one of the best players we had in the preseason. But he could not play the matches or the preparation matches we had in the preseason because he was injured. And I think it is also good when you give a player confidence to say you are rewarded for the hard work you put at training. For the past 2 matches, George has been coming in as a sub, and he gave us a lot of balance in terms of his tactical understanding of the game. And today we needed to play with 2 number 8s, the 3 midfielders with Yusuf helping us as a 6. So George was good for that profile to play as a 6, as an 8, and also helping us in attack. So I think he had a very good game, but you could tell that in terms of his match fitness, he's still lacking. But it was a good run for him to play over 60 minutes.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, from the Star. Coach, like you said, it was disappointing result-wise, but how important will it be for you to take positives from this game going into the 2 matches against the Super Sport and Sundowns? Having to manage that, we built from this game and also manage to get those goals in those matches.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is for us to understand the 3 types of results. We played this game looking to have a win, and when you don't win a game, yes, you are disappointed, but you also look at, like you said, the positives. The positives, like I said, we had very good ball possession. We had very good tactical movements going forward and in shifting play and changing point of attack. And for them to get into those goal-scoring opportunities, it's hard work. It's for them to understand our approach in attack. So those are the positives. But I think the other thing which is very important is the challenge we experienced today coachable. I feel it's coachable because when you talk of composure, you have to work on composure. In small spaces, in tight spaces, how do you deal with those situations? So if you look at Ash in particular, if you look at Saili, if you look at Gonzalez, if you look at Moody, I think they worked very hard to get into those goal-scoring areas. But the positive will always be, let's go back to training. We did well. Unfortunately, we did not score goals, but we have to work throughout the season to create more goals and score more goals.
Okay. I am going to stop the coach there. Let me just get back to my other scene. Okay. So I'm going to start. Doggies, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doggies, for the roses. I'm going to start, then I'm going to open up and we're going to speak about it. Let's speak about the positives first. Positives first is it's not a loss. I guess that's a positive. You can say it's a positive. And secondarily, our defense didn't concede a goal. There were moments where Royal AM could have given us goals, could have scored some goals, but they didn't finish it off. So I guess that's a plus. Where I still struggle with my team, and I said this on Saturday, what I still struggle with my team is that I don't know, gahle, what our plan of playing is. I still don't know what our tactics are, particularly tactics to get goals. I said defensively we're very good. Defensively, you can't fault Mosimane Uditoko. Kwinika has some shaky moments, but another clean sheet. Going forward, and he touched on it speaking about the midfield, where he said that he was playing 2 8s and then Matlo was playing as an 8 and then Mart would play as a 6. Again, is this what we want to do in the team? And aren't there better options that could maybe come in and actually play that midfield, right? Because I still feel like we need a proper 6. I mean, this game ended 18 shots from us, 11 shots from Royal AM, 2 on target apiece, 59% possession for us, 41 for Royal AM. And the fact that Royal AM going through what they're going through could be a team that got some chances against us is a bit of an issue. I think in that midfield, Umatlo was sacrificed. And when I say sacrificed, I mean the way Mdantsane has been sacrificed over the past few weeks that we've seen. I don't think they have a plan for the third midfielder. You'll say Mart is the 6, fine, we believe you. He's played some of these games. You'll say that Castillo is an 8, even pushing all up to false 9 at times. But in any case, we get him. But the third midfield has always been an issue because when you put a ball player there and you bypass that midfield, then you've essentially sacrificed a player, right? So that's why Mdantsane has not been playing well. It's not because Mdantsane is a bad player. It's not because Matlo is a player that can't give us anything. It's because I don't think there's a plan for the third guy who's meant to be the other 8, right? And when you put a player who's a good ball player, when you put a player who's a 10 in the case of Mdantsane, they get lost because the team doesn't play through them. Then up front, Gonzalez is another one who I feel like is being sacrificed. He's tall, he's burly, he had some chances where with his head where he could have scored a couple of goals. Well, he looped one before getting taken off. And you find the same situation as when Chivavairo's on the pitch. We don't know how to play that type of striker. And forcing that type of striker onto the pitch means that you have to move Dupria out, making him a little bit less effective, right? So now that striker has been sacrificed. The number 10, traditional 10 has been sacrificed. So we need to figure out, or ntseki needs to figure out what he's going to do with those 2 players, because you can't keep just throwing faces out there and playing the exact same way. Which brings me on to things like substitutions, right? So in the 66th minute, Shabalala goes off. Shabalala comes on for Gonzalez. Prosla comes on for Kwinika. Saili comes on for Modi. Nkosingphile Ngcobo comes on for Umatlo. So when you look at that, now you've got 4 central midfield type players, 4 10s. You've got Ushabalala, you've got Ngcobo, you've got Mart and Castillo still on the pitch, right? So now you'd expect that at this point we're going to put the ball down, we're going to play the ball between each other and maybe see what the game gives us. But for some reason, Chiefs plays opposite to the players that they have on the pitch. You take off Gonzalez, you start crossing. Now then I ask you, who are you crossing to? Because Shabalala is on the pitch. Maybe you could make an argument for Castillo because he scored a couple of goals from crosses. But who are you playing? And now you've got Nkosinkile, you've got Shabalala on the pitch, but they're not playing. We're not putting the ball down. We're not playing the ball. We're not progressing the ball up the middle. So what is the point of the subs? And I remember telling you guys that in coaching in general, right, the best time to make subs, or the times when they're told to make substitutions, is the 65th minute. I don't think those subs were made to change the game. I don't think those subs were made to change our shape or to do something different. Those subs were just made because we need to make a sub now. We need to make a sub now. Tell me, what did Nkosinkile Ngcobo do throughout the game? I think Shabalala had a chance, if I'm not mistaken. What did they do? Frosler and Kwinika. Was Frosler giving us anything different to what Kwinika was giving us? So why put him in? Why make that sub, right? We saw it in the Sundowns game when Gonzalez came in as a big striker and he was playing right back. So I think at Chiefs, we mix up what we're meant to play. We mix up how we're meant to play with different players, right? So when you have Modi Dupré on the pitch with Potsane, you'd expect pace. You bypass the midfield, you put it over, play early balls over the top for those guys to get there and use their pace. We decide to build very slowly. So at the beginning of this game, when you're meant to be using the pace of Abu Dupré to get in behind, we're building slow. And by the time we want to now kick the ball, I don't know how many times I saw in the game where we'd get the ball up to the halfway line, somebody would panic and they'd try just kick a ball over. Now the defense is set. You have a set defense that is not moving, that is ready for Abu Dupré. Whereas when they're on the pitch, you play balls early, those balls early, so that Dupré can outpace the defense. Great. You take off Dupré. You take You take off the other guys. Fine. You take off Umodi, our most informed player, right? Now you start crossing when you've got short guys on the pitch. I don't understand what's going on the pitch. Maybe the guys in my panels are going to be able to tell me what. I'm going to open it up now. So if you are on Facebook and you're listening to this and you're wondering how you can add your voice to the show, you have to be following me on TikTok. Join me on TikTok. And then I will let you request and let you in so we can speak about this game. Let me see who's here first. Let's see. Agent 007. How are you doing,
bro?
I wanna speak about your team, but they don't show your matches in America.
Yeah. But that is nothing to talk about with my team, daughter, to be honest. I mean, what else there to talk about? All I want,
Tell me, what do you think of this team match? Yeah?
You did me bad, though. I was hoping to see Abutu Kucho somewhere. I wanted to sing for him, you know, that but back to the game. I think, but before I go back to the game, I think this is what I said during Khoza for that. I think Chiefs, if they can get Unaibi, I think Coach Morena is a very good coach, you know. I think he can handle Chiefs, you know, because he did well with Bafana and he did well with Mamelodi FET and he went to Botswana, he won a league there. He's a good coach, you know. So I think, yeah, maybe you guys can bring in him maybe as a co-coach, you know. I think that could help because I think he's technically good.
But let's speak about this game. We're not hiring and firing people.
No, I think it goes back there because I think Chiefs' technical team needs improvement. I think it's there for everyone to see, you know. And I think for me, the worrying factor was in all the PSL games, my top 3 worst games that I've seen, 2 involve Chiefs. You know, I think that's my worry, you know. That if Chiefs is playing against the so-called big teams, then it's exciting because it's playing to his strength, which is counter-taking. But if you are playing against the so-called lesser side, sides which play a low block, then the initiative is on Chiefs to attack, and it seems like they don't have the passing patterns, the drills and the tactics to break such kind of defense, and I think that's worrying a bit, I think individually, I look at Simango Ditlokwe did good. I'm impressed with the back line. Peterson didn't make any mistakes. Macheke, I don't know what is the alternative for Macheke? Is it Frostler? I don't know.
Frostler, Solomons.
I think this is the confusing part about Chiefs. If you're going to bring in a 9 who is not a mobile 9, because I don't think that guy is mobile enough to be a false 9. I think he's a natural 9. You have to bring in a Frostler so that he is going to attack you guys, I mean, he can bring in crosses, for the attacker, because you're going to have Otlanti and Frostler bringing in crosses, I would understand the Macheke one. Is it Macheke? What is the name? Yeah, Macheke.
Yeah, whichever one.
Yeah, if I would understand the Quinica one if you are playing against a bigger team, because you're saying I'm going to be attacking with one full back and the other one is defending, so that you always remain with the back three. But against a poor Royal EM side and lesser teams, I think you don't have to have Rosla and Otlanti both overlapping, and I don't know, maybe because Royal EM was poor, but Tlanti also was okay. I think he was one of the better players.
I just want to jump in before we move on. On the Quinica one, I think what he's trying to do, if I can try to explain it, is that because Duprea is not an out-and-out winger, because Castillo and Matou basically push up into the front line, I think he's trying not to leave Msimang on the Ditlokwe alone, because TS Galaxy and a couple of the games we've played exposed that if Msimang and Ditlokwe moved from the center, Bali 2, then we get issues. But if you can get somebody who can cover them, I don't agree, but I think I understand the Quinica one from that point of view.
I think the problem is, if you're saying, okay, let's go with the logic that, okay, fine, I'm worried about the team might exploit that, but you then see that, my team is like man, what is the use of going to the 60th, 70th minute with the same player, I think at half time, everyone knew that Royal AM just came for an appearance fee only, there was no Royal AM there. So I think then at half time, you're saying, I have nothing to fear, That's why I said with the Macheka one, I can understand the fear if you're playing against a so-called bigger team or equally strong team, but against Royal EM, even if you think Royal EM are going to bring in something, then you can say, okay, at half time they're bringing nothing. But again, it goes back to the technical team. We have watched Royal EM, I think, twice. Is it twice? I think twice.
Yeah.
On the live stream. And it was still the same very poor Royal EM, So it goes back to the video analysis of saying, did they say Royal M is so scary that you need 3 center backs, because you are worried you might be caught napping. So I think it goes back to the poor technical team. But I think I wanted to address the middle of the park. I think it was an interesting tactic. I liked it, to be honest with you. I think, I don't know, maybe Matou is a second half player. I think if you guys have studied with Shabalala, what coach Ntseki was trying might have worked, because he's having a rotating players, like the 6, 8, and 10, they rotate all the time, because I think he saw that Castillo is not natural 6, Mart is not natural 6, so Ovidio Matou in this is not natural 6, and none of them are instinctively defensive. So what you do is you say, okay, fine, you guys are going to rotate, always be sure of who's going on. Like if Umato is a 6, Mark push an 8, Gonzalo Castillo go to a 10, always rotate, always be aware of who's behind you and who's ahead of you. And I think it was going to work, because I think it's a confusing system, because you don't know as an 8 and a 10 to pick up. And I think it was a very interesting tactic that against bigger teams and with Oshabalala there can hurt you guys. And it would be interesting if you guys try the same tactic against Sundowns, because I think it can work. Yeah.
Okay. Let me bring in Mr. Sdibeng. How are you?
How are you, my brother?
I'm okay, my brother. Firstly,
My brother, my
agent is the Sundowns fan. I need to know what fan you are.
myself.
Yeah.
No, maybe you don't know me. Most of the people they know me. I'm Kosi for life. They know me. They know me. Yeah, my brother.
What are your
We
general
can
thoughts?
talk. We can talk every day and night. The only thing that Chiefs can be changed is to get the international coach. As now we speak, I'm telling you, you have to just check Chiefs is like last year.
Yeah.
Even now, we don't play a nice football. And the problem is the problem. It's the coaching. According to myself, if they can get an international coach, they must take out all technical teams. Well, maybe it can be better, but now at the moment I'm telling you, Chiefs is playing shit football. So we are not happy the way they play. I'm telling you, it's not. We are not happy because if you can check that guy, I was listening to you the way you explain the way he do the substitute. It's not good. You can't do the substitute around maybe after 60, maybe around 78. It's not good. Hmm?
And he's just and
Only-
it seems like he's just doing it because, like I said, most coaches get told that if you're going to make a substitution, or maybe if you don't see anything that's going to make you do it earlier, you make substitutions at 65 minutes. So you can tell what get
Yeah,
textbook.
exactly. You want to win. You want to win the game, but the way he did, doesn't show he want to win the game. He want to defend. You can't just play goalless with Royal AM. No man. Molefi is not a coach. I'm telling you, Molefi ntseki is not a coach. If if they want Chief to be, maybe they must get an international coach from outside.
I think the other
For
scary
now,
thing. I think the other scary thing is I can take playing ugly. So I can take it if you have a plan and we can see the plan and then it just so happens to be ugly. Biddendorp wasn't the helicopter footballer, Middendorp wasn't the best thing in the world, right? It wasn't the most appealing thing to watch. But you knew there was a plan. I think my worry is that it doesn't seem like we know what we want to do, even if it's not for something that the fans want. But does it look like the players have an understanding of what the coach wants to accomplish?
yeah, exactly. I'm telling you right now. If you can check, if I was watching the game actually, so I'm telling you, Chiefs is not. There's a lot of players. The only thing that we need is a coach. Mulif doesn't have plan B. Mulif Ntsiki is not a coach. I'm telling you, it's not a coach. If they can get international coach, maybe it's gonna be better. For now, for me, I don't think I don't see him. I'm telling you. So for the next game, they play against Sundowns.
Oh,
It's gonna be difficult.
Super Sport Wednesday.
Yeah, for Super Sport. After Super Sport, it's Sundowns. So it's gonna be difficult for me. So Motipi, according to myself, is not a coach. He must quit or he must resign himself, and then Chiefs they can get a coach from outside.
Okay, my brother. Let me bring in
Maybe that's me.
let me bring in Mark. Mark, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good.
No, right, Mark, right. Tell me, what did you think of this game?
I'm not sure if we were all watching the same game.
Okay.
I can hear people talking lots of stuff about Chiefs not playing well. Did we actually watch the same game? Because Chiefs were the only team that was playing there. They were the most. They were creating chances. Royal M was just sitting there playing that. What do you call that football? I don't know what to call it even. So I'm not sure if we were watching the same game. Chiefs played very well. We were just unlucky. Very unlucky. I think we used the crossbar how many times? 2 or 3 times?
Twice.
I'm not sure. I think 2 or 3 times. Yeah, we were just unlucky. That's all. Regarding the thing about the coach, listen, man, we've got quality players. We've got a quality squad. I think fans should be patient with the coach.
Okay.
Should be very patient with the coach. It's still early, guys. It's still early. It's still very much early. We have Dolly who's coming back. He's a playmaker. He's gonna trade for our strikers. We should not panic. It's still early, and it's a point. We did not lose. It's a point. That's the other thing. So those the Mr. Sedibeng who was calling for a coach from overseas. Look at Khoza. Look at this guy who came in. Who's Amazulu. How many games did he win? Come on, man. You have to be patient. You have to be patient. Chiefs is playing. Yeah, that's it, man.
I'm going to come back because I want us to speak a little bit more about the players as well. We'll go a little bit deeper. Let me just get everybody in. Joppy, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Tell me, what do you support?
Yeah. I'm a Sundowns fan.
Yes, Sundowns support. Hey, man, the Sundowns. Mara, you know what? Let's hear. I'm kidding. Tell me what you thought about this game.
Yeah, my man. No, I watched the game just to peep in and see what we can work with coming this weekend. You know, my man, Chiefs is a big team, ne? I watched Chiefs since I was a child, even though I'm a Sundowns fan. The problem with this club, ne, I believe that the management is not serious about this club. I mean, if you can ask all Chiefs guys there and say, no, guys, what is the methodology of our team? What is the structure of our team? How are we playing? Like the identity. No one can answer you because of I think the management help and want to imitate our other teams. Let me give an example about my team. You know, everyone knows. As Sundowns, it's a shoe shine and piano. You must put the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
Regardless of the coach who can come there, I believe there's a methodology that they say, no, this is how the fans want this team to play. There's no other way because of if you start and put the ball and all that, the fans are going to start and complain. So it's better to be beaten. This is how we play. So in the absence of that, it's a big confusion because of I mean, look at the game. They started the game defending. I was like, what? What are you defending? What are you defending? Because you're chasing other teams on the log. You should, as a big team, as a home team, you should, dominate and do everything just to show that But sit back and play counter. I mean, how are you going to play? This Royal M is too weak, my brother. It's very, very, very weak. There's no way that this Royal M is going to beat us. So if you and I can see that no, Royal M, then why the coach?
No, I hear you, my brother. I think that's why I always ask the question that, there's so many people at most PSL teams. There's so many people that work behind the scenes. You have the coach, you've got assistant coach, analyst, technical director. You've got a whole bunch of people that don't seem to see things. And I don't know, maybe there's things in the background that we have nothing to do with and we don't know what's happening. But for the most part, it feels as though, you can't tell me that the things we see are not seen by them, And I think the one thing that scares me about Kaizer Chiefs, and even Atazwane last season, was that it's a roller coaster. So it feels as though at any moment Chiefs could win or lose or draw with anyone. You'd want some sort of dominance over some certain teams. Royal AM is going through a tough time right now. They can't sign any players. We actually got one of their best players, last season. So these are one of the games where you're expecting you to win. But it feels as though on any given day, anything could happen with Kaizer Chiefs. And that's what scares me, because then you can't build consistency. I put out a video saying that it's a roller coaster right now. And even Atazwane, it was a roller coaster. You could go on a 3-win run and then go on a 3-lose run. And there's no rhyme or reason, and there's no changes. So it almost feels like ntseki is throwing the same tactics and the same team out every week, and we'll get lucky. Some of the games will win through these tactics, but other games are not going to win, and he's not going to change things. Agent, let's speak about Royal AM just a little bit. Just give Royal AM a little bit of time. Should we be worried? Because, we're saying that they're playing bad and they're doing all that, but they draw with this Chiefs side. They're number 6. They're going through a transfer ban. Is it as bad as we make it out to be?
I think I wanted to react on your video. That it's I called it the hope red experiment. You're given hope, you get excited, then killed. And I think before I go to Royal EM, with Chiefs, or with many teams, like Ujan Maduka is inheriting a squad built by what are those guys? Is it Dendens? Is it Kabozondo? It's so it's different players from different styles which are building a team, and you look at Chiefs, except for Khanye, I think all those ones are being used or they've been brought up by the current technical team. I think that's the one factor. But back to Royal EM, it's difficult. You can. I think for me, my worry is in the long term that yes, you can scrape results. It's fine, you can scrape results. But if there is no methodology, if there is no, we are seeing what you can do, then it becomes a problem. Like teams like Kaizer Chiefs, they can afford to scrape results because they have individual brilliance. As Royal EM, you don't have that. So you must have a system which could work and which must work, And I look at it and I say, but I think what's impacting them most, I think it's outside of the field stuff. I think they look demotivated, they look disinterested. And it's difficult to coach in such circumstances, even though I'm putting question marks on coach Vuligate. They look like a demotivated team, and when you're going to, maybe let me put this argument that when you're playing against the so-called big teams, you raise up your game. You say, what, I need to be motivated so that they can scout me or something. But they didn't even look there. It's like they were forced to go and make an appearance fee. It's like back when I was a student, and there was registration. I was just going to register, so that but I'm not attending the lesson, But I think that's the case with Royal EM. And I look at the positives.
Shouldn't we be worried? Because I think we had this discussion before the season started, speaking about coaches. Ujan Maduka is a very well-seasoned coach. And surely these are issues that you would have gone through previously. And now we're seeing him and a lot of experienced coaches, to be fair, going through this. But shouldn't that shock us and make us a bit worried as fans of the Football League that more and more coaches are going the way of Ujan Maduka?
Yeah, I think I think it's a topic that we'll have to revisit, because currently, I think the top 10 best coaches now in the league is under argument, because you think of Ujuan, you think of Utinkla, you think of others. You begin to say, what is going on here? These are seasoned coaches. What's going on, right? But
and again, Sundowns is 10 points ahead of both Royal AM and Kaizer Chiefs at this current moment already.
Yeah, for them the race is over. And I think to deviate a bit from your question, is it a question of when teams are playing Chiefs? Is it a question of saying Chiefs are there for the taking, or you're just naturally motivated, or it's a combination of both? I think that's another question that you need to look at. But I was impressed by this boy Kele, number 77, I think, played well. I think only I don't know why the keeper was given man of the match. I think he looked shaky. I think my man of the match, if it was to be given to any player, it would have been a Chiefs defender or Kele. I think it always goes back to the question of what Coach Pitso said. What did he do? Yeah, but I think otherwise, really, I think they're not going to be in top 8, but I don't think they're going to be relegated, because I look at the teams which they currently have. Cape Town Spurs, I think, is looking a bit worse than anyone else right now.
No, it's the worst,
They have to up their game, so I think they're not going to be relegated. And I think it goes back to the issue of ownership. Do you want to tell me that the mother of chairman, forgetting the lady's name, Mom Kaizer, doesn't have money to pay Nukovic so that he can sign? Who is advising here? Because this is impacting on the club. And I think it goes to the core of what we have as teams, of teams that they are comfortable enough to say, you know what, we won't get relegated. As long as we are in the league, is fine. Doesn't matter if you are 12, 13, 14, as long as you're in the league. And we have so many of those teams in that bracket, that is affecting the quality of our league. Yeah.
Okay. Prachopi, tell me, what did you think of Royal AM? What's going on? Should we be worried that somebody as experienced as John Maduka, even with the transfer bans and things, that it doesn't look like that team is coming together?
Yeah, my man. John got to work with what he has now. Because remember, the Nokovic, that 12 million rand, even Mamkise didn't want to pay. So, meaning there might be problems administratively. That's why there are so many quality players, and they are left with just French, what I call French players. So, what he can do, John, just maintain the club in the league, and just so maybe that the management will just pour money again for next season and strengthen the team to actually compete with the big boys. But for now, all he can do, just grind the results, just fight for top 8, because I don't believe they'll be in top 6. I don't believe so. So he just gotta do what he has to do.
Okay. No, I hear you. I think, look, it goes back to what I've spoken to everybody about. Even when we started the season, we ranked the coaches and we said, how do we rank the coaches, and are there actual coaches that can take on bigger roles? And John Maduka is another one of the coaches that are very, very experienced, years in the league, coaching in the league. He's got the experience that you'd expect at this point for him to be pushing. He did push, came third. I believe it was the first season in Mamkise. But ever since then, he's been maintaining the league. And I think we've got so many coaches that are maintaining the league. They are maintaining teams. So coaches that will always finish 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, will always stay there, not move or not do anything. And I think our league is worse for it because we've got so many of those guys on top of teams like Abo Chiefs also becoming that way. That it's hurting the league. Sundowns is 10 points ahead of Chiefs and Royal AM currently. They are, I think, 8, 9 points ahead of number 2. It could go down to 8 or 7, if I'm not mistaken, if SuperSport wins their game versus us. And you sit there and you go, guys, how many people which teams are going to fight with Sundowns? Our Pirates are going to be playing away a lot of these games, playing these CAF competitions and things like that. So isn't it up to people like Abo Baka, people like Abo Tinkler, people like Abo Maduka, who've been in the league for a while, who've got that experience to be pushing these teams, and we're not seeing it happening. So I think that's going to be a worry. Thank you to the first panel. Let me bring in the second panel because I want to talk about Chiefs' tactics and if it makes sense. Napoleon, Lekau.
Chiefs' tactics and if it makes sense.
Yeah, but no, Kare. Okay, hey, guys, please mute when you come in. There's an echo somewhere. Apologies for that. Abut Napoleon, pupukene mo.
Okay, Abuti.
Lekau, Abuti.
Kite, man, it's been long. Hey,
akira usakena.
Kya kena, Abuti, kena late.
Awona review e ke di betwe ha o sa batla go tla.
Abuti asenguyile manje.
What are your general thoughts ka game ya Chiefs le Rwale?
Ona le Abuti o kenene a bua ka taba ya hore nkare kaofela a ra shebela game A1. I agree with him. Chiefs ya dlala ne, but I even liked Nthoibuleng. His substitution, no, it's out. Like he's doing the same thing that's what he understand? Yeah. Otherwise, first half to 60 minutes, Chiefs in Atlanta. Chiefs in an idea. It has a good idea, but his substitution. I think Lilian one need that final pass.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like what
winging most of the time. More to the wing. So Untamang, Ukenyamang will totally move to the number 10. Okay, Lukisa Joang Tabayen.
It's difficult because Usuremachita speed. I was thinking Naka because but Kidi left player Bali 2, Dolili Lemtanzan. Again, we always complaining that in Tanzania he's lazy. He needs a player.
Yeah.
But you know how he's gonna play Dolly. And Dolly Kimutoloring, he's not a greedy player or pass. He creates goals. And he likes to cross. But Gonzalez I something else. I think something I don't know. Amate. He must show his potential. Let me just say like that.
Mara, he must just show. Again, that doesn't come down again to the coaches that Chiefs. I think after watching Gonzalez, after watching Chibabairo, there's an idea of how they play. Mara, Chiefs, whether Uteng, whether Hayo, they play the same football. Joleka, when we're saying now about maybe playing Tolem Tanzania together, we Reboni Shabalala. Pile on the pitch together, Mara. Still, is it down to coaching, Mara? Coach Arnold, does he know how to put the ball on the floor? Does he know how to use Bo Gonzalez?
You know, the saddest part, ne, the coach, Zarona. Zwane was there. He knows how Pile plays. He knows Shaba. Why ntseki? Because ntseki lena, unali philosophy high. Little Shepherd Balitri. Why Basa Copan the tactics? Can these young players because all of them they're playing the same ball. Babamba speedy, Babamba passa, Babanki 1-2, Seabulala, Pasana Gyapor. You understand? Those three, Balitri, Dillon Shepherd, this one didn't take it a player because Chiefs are the player, even if they are very young. But those boys they can play. You have a big game that is coming. Of which ball of Abaleba Shebi. Lerona Batla ka di player tse di. Yeah. So now according to me, Zwane Limteki, they must they must sit down and like go back to the drawing board. do what's right. Because no, ukwatisa the former supporters, the new supporters. Chiefs not the supports by, but each and everyone are angry, even from the lady side. Bakwati. The popo di tlotsama tsa coast. Di tlotsama di popo di go Pitori kwa.
This guy Pitori man. Aye, man. This guy Pitori. I don't go Pitori.
Now, I just pray and ntseki and Zwane, they must just give a compensation shots work with these boys, let the boys babule rona, Rikazala, like create those combinations. But la di le bolo bo ata Zwane rona re the bolo right. We cannot come to the show to predict we know soccer. Let the coaches by the combinations of the player, because Chiefs has got brilliant players. Some Kelozwani, kiri game tsa high, I prove it. Upomutse Marte ba fit. Because Marte is a favorite player at us one in the
Marte na le captain la tse. Eriki kenye tse.
Thank you, Buti.
Get no gutla hape. You know the thing is, and before I bring in Luchero, I think this is where I gave the Pirates coach so much credit. I always say this about Rivero. I think Rivero looked at his squad and he went, this is how my players play. This is how Saleng plays. This is what Lipasa plays. This is how any of the other players play. And he said, I'm going to allow you guys, I'm going to build a system that allows you guys to play to your strengths. But now we've got pacey players who are defending. We've got big guys that should be hassling defenses. Hassling defenses, headering balls. They're now running back. Chivavaro even pulled a hamstring. All over the place, going back and trying to play different football. I think it's high time that Kaizer Chiefs, if you're not going to bring in tactics, just sit down and play to your players' strengths. Dupree is fast. Create as many situations where he can use his pace. You know, you've seen that Modi scored his goal. Modi scored most of his goals centrally from linking with someone, right? So, Modi, I don't want you to run out there on the wing too much. Or let Tanti do the running for that, and we'll figure out the like play to your players' strengths, and that's what I'm not seeing from Kaizer Chiefs. It feels as though they play one way. Shabalala comes onto the pitch, he's asked to go wide, and you're like, but but he's playing out wide. That takes away what he's good at. But anyway, I'm going to get into that a bit later. Jero, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Kunjani friends?
No, right, Jero. Jero, ngitshele. Manga analyze my tactics with Chiefs. Tell me, what is the tactic at Chiefs? I understand.
I think when it comes to Chiefs, it depends who are they playing. I remember against the Sundowns, the Chiefs, they packed the pass. But now I was confused when I see with Dupree, their fastest player, coming back, you know. I was expecting the Mubuti, if they're going to pack the pass, they're going to leave Dupree's up front for counter attacks. So what I saw, Uguti, the Chiefs or a technical team, they know Uguti Chiefs is not good enough when it comes to playing against the Sundowns. So we're gonna sit back, absorb the pressure, and then and then hit them on the counter. But the problem starts when Chiefs has to be the attacker or the enforcer, like on the weekend. That's when a lot of questions come out, because you can see there's no combination play. Yes, they hit the bar twice, but there's nothing that is solid. Yes, you can say, okay, I can see they are trying to do this, but the problem is, okay, they are still lacking here and there. You cannot identify what are they trying to do. You cannot identify a pattern. You understand what I'm trying to say? So my advice, I'm not a Chiefs fan, by the way. My advice to Chiefs is they need to readjust their expectations. Chiefs, for me, currently, they're not a big team. Fans, history, yes, big team. But the current crop, they are not. I'll compare Chiefs to Chelsea, for example. You see, when you watch Chelsea, I think their fans understand. Okay, now our target is top 4 Champions League. It's not the league. So, but we bought a lot of new players, got a new coach. They're gonna fail. You know, we don't see Chelsea fans booing their technical team or players. They are expecting this to happen. So you must just readjust your expectations and say, okay, we've identified a coach, we've brought in a lot of new players. Let's give them 3 seasons. Because this thing, I'm being serious. This thing of chopping coaches every second season, you have a new coach. You guys have tried it for so many years. It didn't work. It didn't work. I mean, I always say for the.
But can I ask you?
Yeah.
Molefi Ntseki is in his 3rd season as Kaizer Chiefs, even though it's his first one as coach.
Yeah.
Atazwani has been at Kaizer Chiefs, I don't know, as an assistant, or maybe it's his 5th year, if I'm not mistaken. Dylan Shepherd came with Gavin Hunt.
Yeah.
So at this current moment, I can understand it with Chelsea and Pochettino, let's say, because Pochettino is new and he's got new players. But this technical staff has been here for a while, one, and they were also part and parcel of choosing which players come into Kaizer Chiefs, which players play. They were in the decision-making booth. Ntseki was technical director, so he had a say on these guys that were signed. In his own words, he said that they did an audit as a team end of last season, and that's when they came up with the new players. So should Ntseki, Zwani, and Shepherd be given the benefit of the doubt as well for the next 3 years?
That's the thing. These guys have been in the background and not being the main coaches. For example, Atazwan was assistant to someone. Shepherd has been an assistant to someone. So they didn't call the shots. And the biggest problem is when it comes to Chiefs, Chiefs have lost their identity. If you look at City and maybe Sundowns, if they buy a player, they buy a player who will fit in their style or system of play. So now I was surprised to see Gonzalez. He's a big boy, but I started asking my question, okay, how does he fit into this Kaizer Chiefs system? You understand? So for me, personally, looking from the outside, I don't think they have a structure from under 15 or MTC. This is our pattern. We're gonna lose with this pattern, and over time it's gonna improve. Understand? So this thing of changing coaches, is a coach coming with his own system, or is a coach coming with our system? Because if you look at guys like Shabalala, they're both players. But is the system allowing them to be ball players? If you're gonna pack the pass and bring in ball players, how are they gonna strive, or how are they gonna show their skills to improve the team? So for me, just lower your expectations, build a structure, a system, and give the coach time. And if you identify him, he's been part of the technical team, give him 3 years.
Okay.
Just give him 3 years and just lower your expectations. You guys have got an advantage of being able to pack the stadium every time you play. Rally behind you guys. Just support your team.
Okay.
Because that's the biggest problem, because you guys are always fighting with your coach all the time. How many coaches you're fighting?
How many years?
I was still Komphela, you were fighting them.
He had
all the way
to
win
now. Anything.
But soccer is a process. This thing of quartering is not gonna. It hasn't worked before. It's not gonna work. So you need to change the way you think, guys. This thing of fighting every time. That's why sometimes it's gonna keep on trapping you one way, because you're always fighting your players. How are they gonna perform being scared? You're calling them names. You're telling them to change. No, guys, you need to change your way of thinking. Yeah.
I hear you, my brother. I hear you, Mark. Tell me, do you understand what we're doing as the team when we're saying we're building and all of that stuff? Do we have an identity? Should we be asking more?
Firstly, I want to ask your opinion about Santi. What do you think about Santi? Yeah.
I think Santi was a great player. Maybe a couple of seasons back, or maybe that season when we actually wanted him. I think at times he goes missing. But in terms of giving us he does have an attacking edge. My only problem with Santi is not Santi. It's that position should now be a Mashiane, for example, with Santi as backup. So I'm not necessarily angry at Santi like that, even though at times he has lapses in judgment. But I'm more worried that you can't have Santi Dove, and then in a year or two's time, we're going to be looking for another left back, if that makes sense. I don't know if I answered your question.
I'm really confused about what do the coaches see in Santi. First of all, Santi is very slow.
Okay.
Very slow. He's slow. The only thing he can do is just to trust is to trust the ball. There's nothing much he can offer. I honestly don't see what the coach is seeing. Zwana favored him. I see now even ntseki is favoring Santi. I'm really confused when it comes to Santi because we have better players that can play there. I'm really confused about that one.
Okay. But what do you make about the tactics overall? What do you think of does it make sense what we're doing?
What was your question?
Does it make sense, the tactics that we're using? Can you make sense of what it is we're trying to do?
I think, listen. I think if we can have Dolly to come back, the only thing we are missing here, we are missing a playmaker, and Mduduzi is not that playmaker. We are really missing a playmaker, and Dolly is that guy. If we can have Dolly to trade for the work, then I think we did.
Yeah, I think network there, Mark. Let me disconnect you. Try come back on because I think your network just cut us there for a bit. Mflo, how are you doing, my brother? Mflo? There we go. How are you doing, my brother? It's But anyway, what do you think of Chiefs' tactics, my brother?
Oh, okay. I'm not a Chiefs fan, a Sundowns fan. But the Kaizer Chiefs ngiyayibukela because I think ngenye teams zalapha South Africa history and endala. Into endiye ndiyibona kwi-Kaizer Chiefs is that xa ujonga kwi-team management, I think ikhona into esafuneka ilungisiwe. Xa ndisithi team management, starting from ii-scouters uba indlela eniscouter ngayo ii-players ithini, which criteria do you use? Because ixesha elinintsi siyakwazi uva ngee-players, you sign players, xa zifikayo sibe thina si-expecte iChiefs izawubuyela kweza standard ibikuso, ibe yilaa Kaizer Chiefs besiyazi uba is very competitive, iyakwazi udlala ibhola. Now, into esendiyinotisile is that, one, iChiefs doesn't have football identity. Okwesibini, iChiefs kunzima to make a combination of passes because ngisibakele nditsho is lacking kwenza combination of passes. If niyaqaphela, i-midfielder is too far from his strikers, and it makes it hard for i-Chiefs yenze as a combination of passes. And I think xa uzawuba nee-players fana noDolly, you need uba uthi lay i-foundation ezawuba ne-identity of a team, so that i-team izawukwazi udlala niyibone indlela edlala ngayo uba what is the intention, ifuna ukuthini. Because if niyaqaphela ngoku uNtseki andimregard as ucoach onefilosofi yakhe ayisebenzisayo as a coach uba udlala kanjani. Ibangele nditsho uNtseki I think ebeke wayicoach uBafana Bafana, if I'm not mistaken, i-assistant yakhe it was uZwane lo.
Yeah.
Now if uyaqaphela abantu baqhelene, and xa ujongayo i-Chiefs ngoku abantu bacinga isekwi-building stage, and you cannot build for a so very long time team enkulu kangaka. And le problem ye-Chiefs iyafana nalenzeka Manchester United ye-Glazers. Ufumaniseka uba i-Glazers they are willing to keep up the money for signing players, but i-signing ezenziwayo are very wrong to the team. Yile nto yenzekayo i-Chiefs yona is led by i-family, and i-family abantu bakhona some are very stubborn to understand ukuba the culture of football has changed and you need to sign a quality player, and the scouting team needs to be quality in order team to grow. So zenye izinto endifuna uzibala ke nge-Kaizer Chiefs. Enye into endinotifayo abantu xa sincokola nge-Kaizer Chiefs, abantu are only concerned about igame ezayo nge-23, which is le game bazabe idlala neSundowns. Abayihoyanga le SuperSport, ingathi izobe iyi-walk free in the park, of which is i-team yabo isene-problems ngoku. They need to analyze in order bakwazi ufacea the big games. Now xa ndiyijongayo SuperSport kubo ngoku it's a very big game kubo ngoku, and bona I'm sure they are not aware. Yiyo le nto abantu abaninzi bekhawuleza bathatha ngeSundowns iSuperSport, because uba niyajonga indawo ehleli kuyo ingaphezulu kwe-Kaizer Chiefs. Now ndifuna ndijonge enye into apha kwitable. If uyaqaphela i-Chiefs position 5,
yeah,
in 8 points, played 6 games. Irvin position 6, in 8 points, played 6 games. Ukona i-Pirates is position 7.
Yeah,
in 7 points.
Yeah.
Played 2. Ube ne-Fellows in 7 points, 8, played 5.
Yeah.
Ube ne zawuphela abaku-10, ube nesikhukhune.
Yeah.
Esikhulu. Sina 7 points, 5 games. Ibe i-Test Galaxy na ina 7 points. Now ndifuna sijonge into eyi-one is that if ukawujongayo kwezi games, ezi teams now zine-game in hand ngoku. If they can win as game in hand ngoku okanye draw, because ezinye zine-goal difference ebhetele ne-Kaizer Chiefs, what does it mean? It says the Kaizer Chiefs izawuya idropha ibuye umva kakhulu. Now that is why ndisitsho abantu they need to consider igame abazayidlala than concentrating kwigame ezayo yakudala. And I think xa uyaziyo as a coach indlela endidlala ngayo, when you're building a team and ulungisela games, you don't prepare games akudala, you only focus on the game that is coming in order ukwazi ukubuilda i-team idlale ngale ndlela ufuna ngayo. Because it says you will become worried xa uzoqala ujonga igame yakudala ungakagqibi ngale, of which is you need to qala ube ready ngale game uzayidlala. And ndifuna uya kule nto yoba ukhona ubrother bebesithi i-Chelsea ine-problem of chopping and changing coaches. Kulo chopping and changing coaches, Chiefs made a mistake in my belief, ngomsusa uGavin Hunt, because uGavin Hunt by the time he was the coach of Kaizer Chiefs, the Chiefs was banned on signing players. So Umtita was not given enough time. And again, it was a coach track record, and Maziwa can win new cups, leagues. Now each is iphele seyibhenela to who coaches as gonna track record as far as nokwenzeke that have won nothing. Uyabo? But they believe uzawina. But nokuzibuza for how long? Mininzi leminyaka iChiefs as a big team ingasawini kwanto uzotsho ngoku. Uyabo? So if brother uthi i-coaches they need zinikwe into epha ku 3 years, mna I still believe i-coaches that can be given in 3 years zibe zingana track record zicoach ezifana ezicoach i-national team, because in-national team you only have a little time ne-players in order to jayela i-team ibe yile ndlela ofuna uyidlala ngayo. But kwiitim ezifana no-Kaizer Chiefs, ezo team they need zibe ne-identity so that ucoach ofikayo it will be easy to take over adlale ngale ndlela i-Chiefs idlala ngayo. Enye into endifuna uya kuyo on the game ibidlala ne-Royal AM, I've noticed one thing, and I think Chiefs they need to give a break Umar. I'm not saying Umar is a bad player, but I think usesebenze too much, and the team ayidibonakale into ayenzayo. There are games ezifana nezanto zokuthiwa bo-Richards Bay apho you need uba okay uteste waters udlala ii-players bezingafama ziyadlala. I think if siyayazi mos uSithebe abantu bayaqala ngayo, but I still believe uSithebe is a quality player because isinazo ii-players. Now if they can start uSithebe noCastillo bakhe bayijonge itimu izawuba njani, then i-Chiefs in front ingabi nayo straight number 9 because lo Gonzalez andiboni into makubo. I won't lie, ndimbona nje as a player. I-Chiefs ke idlale without a number 9, idlale umuntu uzoba not a proper 9, but umuntu ozodlala lo possession which is izobe instruction, because if you are playing without a number 9 ithetha ukuthi lo possession uzobe i-create, it becomes an instruction to the team. I-team ezawudlala ngalo ndlela.
Okay.
Nothing in the I love the fact that
very quickly, yeah.
They gave you, yeah, look away. I love the fact that they gave a break to Umtazan. I think the players they need to gain confidence in out of the game, because if they expect too much, otherwise it's a lack of windows.
Okay, my brother. I think another thing that I know we speak about it a lot here, but another thing that we need to keep in mind, and I want us to think about the whole chain. A coach has a job, and the coach has things that they do, but there's other people around them that have other things that they're meant to do. A coach is not meant to come with the philosophy of the team. Rulani is not coming with the philosophy of Sundowns. He was brought in because he fits the philosophy of Sundowns, right? As Sundowns fans always tell us, Shushan and Piano is from the times of Bobo Prasten, right? So
that's true.
What is the philosophy of Kaizer Chiefs? Who is leading the philosophy of Kaizer Chiefs? Ntseki was the technical director. He's now the coach. Who's the technical director right now? And when we think of Kaizer Chiefs over the past 8 seasons, can you tell me what it is? You know, are we a counter-attacking team? Are we a helicopter football team? Are we this? Are we that? Are we that? And if you don't like the ugly football, let's say, as Middendorp, somebody mentioned Middendorp in the comments, Middendorp was playing helicopter football, and there's a story that came out kind of about helicopter football, and Middendorp was not doing well. Middendorp finished second, and everybody didn't want him. The question then becomes, are you willing as a team to do everything that you need to do in order to make the new style of play that you want viable? So, are you going to change all of the development coaches, going to change the philosophy at the top, going to change the coaches, the technical staff, and all of that? Because if I'm still playing with an assistant coach, Gavin Hunt, who Gavin Hunt chose for a reason, Dylan Shepard came with Gavin Hunt, chose for a reason, knows Gavin's played a certain way. If I'm still got to Atazwani, who we might want him to play a certain way, but he's been assistant coach of these guys that have been ugly football, quote unquote, right? If Ntseki as technical director has been technical director under Stuart Baxter and all of those guys, where's the change going to come from? Because then they have to come to a place where we say, you know what, guys, as Chiefs, who are the best players for that? Who are the best coaches for that? Who are the best technical staff for that? Who are the best? I always give the example of Man City. Manchester City didn't just sign Pep. They signed Tiki Bergestan. He was the technical director of Barcelona when Pep was there. So they knew we're going to make that change in the whole organization. So we need to make sure that when we're bringing in Pep and Pep plays a certain type of football, let's make sure that the rest of the chain understands what we're going to do. And that's why I don't like to let ntseki off of the hook. Because ntseki, for the past 3 years, was part and parcel of what is the philosophy of Kaizer Chiefs. He was even in charge of making sure that development plays to a certain philosophy. So you'd imagine that if he's coming from inside and he was part of the decision making, when we get onto the pitch, we would see what the plan is or what the style is. And honestly, I'm not saying that you have to win. I've said this before. I'm not a person who says that you have to win all the games, right? Or you have to do this. I'm a person who goes, at least put my mind at ease because I understand what you're trying to do. I know Tika-Taka might not work first season because you might be stuck with a lot of the players that came from a previous regime that didn't play Tiki-Taka. Great. But let's see on the pitch, okay, and maybe corner right? Wait, see, this man had that thing, right? But gradually then you say, time and all of that stuff, you know. But right now, what's scaring me about Kaizer Chiefs is, again, it's a lucky packet. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win two, win three, lose three, win three, draw. There's no pattern. And what scares me is, especially how we speak about Kaizer Chiefs. I've been listening and I see the comments and I hear people speaking. There's a vast difference between Kaizer Chiefs and Amazulu and Richards Bay and Cape Town Spurs. Facilities, what, all of that stuff. There's a vast difference. But when you look at the league, it seems as though there's Sundowns up there and then everybody else. And as a Chiefs fan, I don't want my team to be everybody else. You get me? Today, Amazulu could beat us. Tomorrow, Saturday, we could beat Sundowns, right? But then TS Galaxy handles us on another day. Then the following game versus SuperSport is a tough one. Or we lose the one versus SuperSport, win versus Sundowns, lose the next three, win the two after. There's no rhyme or reason to what we're doing. About Napoleon, there was news that came out today, Hore, Matati has been released. And I think I want to have a conversation about what that means for the youth at Kaizer Chiefs, because Umatlatsi is a player that didn't get much game time, didn't get a chance to play, we were told we're building is for the future, is the youngster, and now you're looking at Abo Duba, Abo Shabalala, Abo Zwane, who might be in the same boat. And then you look at previously, Abo Nkosing Pilengobo, Abo Bashiani, who can't even get game time right now as guys who've been at the team for 4 or 5 years. Should we be worried about these kids? Because it doesn't seem like there's a plan. Game time. What do you think of that?
I would when it comes to the players down this a chance who end up with such things. Mahlati, he was a golden boy because that's why Chiefs bought him. I get. He was a super sub. On a super Chiefs are Sundowns. So Honano Mashian, that guy that mistake he fell for Africa. Then some recognize
2 years back.
2 years back in 20 since I've been sure from that game. Nothing. Honano unale Samke is best. That boy was done. Wama. Akadulisa Zwane, Akadulisa Martefat. But we have young players. Bonatuba. Okay, last season, I won my 2 fan. Then he's brilliant, that boy. Shabaki. Yo, Omo. Kiana Muchono Sanse Hane Chiefs release Alena Tama. Khatebe is not the Chiefs material. How Kenya high change game, he doesn't do anything. So, Ntwetlo Bola Bafana ba. Hosato onali superstar. Ringe batla lo dlala ko PSG. Mara tshwantse dlala first team pele. Age mfundo. Lena maybe after 2 seasons o tlo kena jwang if the coach tsa rona di sa kenye dintwana tsa rona. I understand too. They killing these boys. Kamubare arena under 17, arena under 23. Di tlo tswa ka ntwana tseo. If the ntwana tsa rona ba sa di kenye. And those boys are working hard. They're proving themselves many years. There was a boy Pitso Atlowina. There was a boy Amonganda from good development. That boy Unamita Messi. When Rulani came, that boy Motsepe, and he was very young. He was a leading top goal scorer called idiski. That boy got that season Pitso Atlowina Amonganda Mtenyada. But that boy Azanga a pitcher after Pitso Atlowina. So it shows. The Pirates, there was these 2 boys, Sama twins, Tsejalanka left. Those boys, deep line, they overseas, they don't represent the Pirates, Manchester. Those boys are best, Baba promote. They only had only 1 game, and it was only 1 tree. After that, they are nowhere to be found.
Isn't the scary thing about Napoleon? They're not playing. Maybe let's say they're not ready for Chiefs sharp. My problem, okay, ready. What's the plan? Why you have them play PSL games, NFT games, then when they come back to the team, there's something. But Habakadula, do they become like Unkosing Pile? Do they become like Umashian in the future? Because on top of that team, ya sign Tove Kene, Khoza Kimanko midfielding, Kyo Castillo Kene, Kyo Mtanzano Kene, Ko winging Kene Babang. Will these players get a chance or Ahona planning?
I don't think there's gonna be a chance for our young guys. Mufukelena ko Pirates ke luck le gona le skill and wa khona ho tshela le magrotmane a salang lo. Ever since, do we have another boy within that? Did we have? No one. So then we're gonna please what's this? Stelis e gona nka 10 di player di kenya ko first team. It's a good thing. The only young player that I don't approve. The players are Cape Town City, those young players. There's no soccer. Last week there was someone in a panel I don't even like see or wait a land guarding young boys at Cape Town City. But we need to promote these guys. I don't know, Safar, Kaizer Kings or Kaizer, I don't know what, or these young boys, potentially as on Ahly or the Khoza first team. Because we cannot groom the Ndwana, ready say the tournament team, by the peak, the next day was until the first team, they don't. You cannot do you cannot buy players. Then Kamuna the youngsters, you promote only 1 or 2.
On top of
but
that.
you have 12 players or 24. What did you see? It's impossible. It's impossible, I would. Okay. And in closing, Neki Kopa fellow Masanda one. Masanda na kuluma too much. I need to know Mara Abaye Kuluma Ngatmanji, Upra Rulani, Untwebu, or eat. Nah, you know you. Nah, you know you. If I'm going to see president, now would you add? Nimpege came the parents. Uzo save a player for Kaizer Chiefs. We ain't going to negotiate to Funsha is a say, so wait. Send the win over the weekend. Send the win, Lord. Send the winners. Thank you,
Wednesday. Thank you. Pero, I've got the same question for you. You know, it's not even that I'm saying that you must force these players in, and even if when they're not ready and all of that stuff. But it doesn't seem like another thing that Chiefs has a plan for these youngsters. Are we going to see some of them getting released like Umashatsi was released today?
You know what? I mean, I don't want to speak about Chiefs, but I want to speak about South Africans in general, how they treat their youngsters. You see, it goes back to my point. Would see these coaches they are not given a chance, so they are forced to get results from day one. Understand? So there is no way. Even if I become a coach tomorrow,
Yeah.
there is no way I'm gonna develop players knowing in 3 days time, in three games time, I could be fired. But at the end of the day, I need to now. They are saying business is soccer now. So if I mean, soccer is business. So if it's business, there is no way I'm gonna. I say okay, I'm giving Mashiane leeway because he's still developing. Whereas I can lose my job tomorrow. So these coaches are under that stress of saying, "Hey,
why not loan him out? Why not loan him out? Let him get game time. Maybe it could be good business that in a year's time you sell him." Now, Chiefs was at Chiefs for 2 years. Now you release him. He could have been sold if he was maybe loaned out.
But when it comes to loaning, there's a lot of technicalities that happens in the background. Because you can say I'm loaning him out, but you're loaning him out to who? Who's willing to take a youngster again?
NFD, Paris doesn't get it with Cape Town Spurs.
Yeah, if you talk about NFT, is a player willing to go to NFT? Two, does the NFT players, a team, afford these players? Because maybe if you're saying, okay, I'm taking your player, are we going to pay 50-50 on his salary, or you understand? Even you as a team, because I remember this story about Pitso when Pelele Mkhulisi was moving from MDC to the first team of Sundowns. They asked Pitso why he doesn't loan Mkhulisi out, and he said he's gonna get more developed training with us than playing with some team from NFT. You understand? Maybe there's that thought of mind which no, if we take this guy to Pretoria Kelly's, the coaching, the level of coaching, the level of tactics there is not good enough. Rather him spend the whole season in the bench and training with us, he's gonna get developed in that way.
But
maybe
then
there's
we've got
another
guys that are like that. We've got to Nkosimpile Ngobo, we've got to Mashiane, who that was the thinking around them, still not playing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The coach, you were doing that thought of you were thinking about Ngobo last season in Mashiane, and then you change the coach. Is the coach willing to risk and play these guys? Because you must remember, I remember Ngobo last season, Zwane was playing him and benching him because he was saying he's not fit enough, physically fit, to be a number 6 to go up and down. Even physically to be able to play against those tough guys who play in the midfield, Abo Charlie, Abo Mbujane, there's one who used to play for, is a Pirate now, used to play for Amazon, or Kaul. He's not physically, fit enough. So now, the coaches are always looking out for their jobs. There is no way they're gonna bring a young player who's gonna get exposed for 5 games, thinking, I am building him up while he's losing. He's gonna get fired, just like Zwane.
But
went
is
to
there
the
a plan
final
for them? I think that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they must start. I'm just saying that what are they getting in return? Because now Mastard has just been released. We're seeing that Abu Zuma went through the same thing, even though we know there was an attitude thing there. But Abu Zuma went through the same thing. Like Abu Mashiana not playing, Abu Ngoba not playing. In fact, not only are they not playing, they're putting guys ahead of them. So they've signed Abu Castillo, they've brought in Abu Mtanzan ahead of those players, Abu Tove. So my question is, should then Chiefs not go, as a coach, as somebody who's been there for 3 years, ntseki, Zwane, or whoever, as the coach of Kaizer Chiefs, guys, if I'm not going to use these kids, what value do we get by keeping them? When we could release them, sell them, we could do other things, but to just have them sitting there and then Umdu has to come on Makshisa when we need something and he hasn't been playing, for example.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, is there a plan for these guys, or are we just keeping them just to say that there's youth?
You know what? This thing, we've been talking about this thing for years now. There is a disconnection between technical team and Chiefs management. Not only Chiefs. I don't like to speak about Chiefs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
but a lot of PSL teams. There's a disconnection between Chippa United owners and CEOs and technical teams.
Yeah.
And this thing, as fans, it seems as if we are more concerned than the teams themselves. Because you can see, Chiefs promoted 10 players in the past 2 seasons, but they haven't been loaned out and they are not playing. So what's the plan? It goes back years and years and years. So this type of question we're gonna keep on asking ourselves every season. And we are not gonna get the answer because there is a disconnection here between Wabo Poppy and the technical team. That's my take, yeah.
I think that's why, just to jump in, just to end off the day, I think that's why I'm like, for me, I don't want to sound mean, but for me, there's a level of team that is surviving. They're trying to just stay in the league. They don't have time to think about these things. Then you have the secondary teams that, okay, fine, we are more stable. We should be doing certain things with the resources we have. Then there's like the top tier teams, Abo Sundowns, who can afford to do a lot of different things that a lot of teams can't do. And I think in the conversation today, what I'm hearing is that Kaizer Chiefs is falling more and more into the group of everybody else. So it's okay that we don't have a plan for the youngsters. It's okay that we don't have a philosophy. It's okay that our coach maybe didn't have the experience, as in PSL coaching experience as a head coach. It's okay that we go to Royal AM and it's 0-0 and we say, no, guys, it was a good game. We're just unlucky and all of that stuff. We're sounding a lot like a lot of the, not lesser teams, but lesser resource teams, lesser experienced teams. We're sounding like that. And I think that's what scares me more than anything about these conversations. You know, as the coach at Kaizer Chiefs, you should have pressure. It should be expected. You're coaching one of the biggest teams in Africa. You get what I mean? You're coaching a team that is known all over the world. So by virtue of having so many fans and so many commercial opportunities and so much spotlight and so much everything, there is a pressure that comes with that, right? A pressure you accept. If somebody is going to take over from Rulani right now, let's say out of the blue, Rulani gets fired. If you go and coach Sundowns, you've got a pressure. And the pressure is you gotta win the league. You got to go and compete in Africa. It's part and parcel of the job that you have. So I think what has happened is that over the 8 seasons where we've been, over the 8 seasons that we've been not winning trophies, up and down, doing all of this stuff, we've lowered the bar so much that even just questioning his tactics, now people come out and say, no, why you should be doing this? No, you shouldn't be doing that. No, you must do this and that. And it's like, but guys, I want my team to win. I remember I'm a supporter of Kaizer Chiefs from a time when the expectation of any coach that walked into the Kaizer Chiefs, whether we knew you, whether we didn't know you, was to win at least one trophy every season. That wasn't hate, that wasn't whatever, it was just the way it was. So now that we're here, we've changed. You get me? And that's what scares me. On the kids, I worry about the transfers in general because you can ask questions of the first team signings. Why did Bimenyimana come to the team? You know, why were certain players signed? Abo Stebe, Abo Dube, Abo Patrice, Abo Ngobo, and Jabulo Ngobo. And what was the planning behind it? Because now it seems that every season we're doing the exact same thing. This season we're signing 7. Next season we're signing 7. Next season we're signing 7. The season after that we're signing 7. But it doesn't look like there's a plan behind that. I wouldn't mind signing 4. But we know that that's a 4 that fits the philosophy, how we play, what we're planning for, what we're going to do. But now, like I've said previously, you've signed Mtansani, even though Nkosingphile is still there, even though Shabalala is upcoming. You've signed Chivavairo, but then you don't know how to play with Chivavairo. You've signed him, you've brought in Saile, you've signed Dupotsani. All those players don't fit together. So are we signing just for signing's sake to say that, yes, let's busy this transfer window, or is there a plan? A lot of you were talking about youth last season. Arta's bringing in the youth, which was really 3 players, but you know what, it's fine. Arta's bringing in the youth, he's playing the youth, he's doing all of that with the youth. Okay, now where's that youth today? In his second season at Kaizer Chiefs, should Shabalala be playing DDC games? For example, for game time, in his second season as a professional. Is there a plan for him? Was there a plan with Arthur? Was there a plan with Ntseki? Was there a plan with Gavin, Ernst Middendorf, Stuart Baxter, Banban down the line? Were there plans, or were we just signing to say that we're signing? And for me, it's kind of sad. There was an article that came out where Middendorf did an interview, and he spoke about how when he finished second, he had to sit in a dressing room and hear about how coming second was unacceptable, doing all of that stuff, and Kaizer didn't even say goodbye to him after he got fired and things like that. And you're like, is the leadership at Kaizer Chiefs acting like fans or acting like football teams? I'm not a technical director at Kaizer Chiefs. I'm not a shareholder. I'm not a board member. I'm not a member of the structure. What I say on this show, what people say on this show, shouldn't be what's driving what Kaizer Chiefs is doing. Patrice Motsepe was very unpopular for a very long time. Even more when Pitso came in and Pitso had that first bad year. But because they understood as management what they were doing, they changed, they go forward and do whatever, all of the success that they've gotten right now. But with Chiefs, I can chop and change. I can want a coach to be fired. I can be confused about a signing that's coming in. I can be confused about many of the things that are happening at Kaizer Chiefs. It's not my place to know everything. But they should be doing something. They should be pushing. 8 seasons trophyless shouldn't be a cry. Shouldn't be a thing where it sounds like us fans are making more noise. They should be the ones that are looking at themselves and saying, we want to win. And I asked you guys the question the other time, last week when we were speaking about PSL teams in general. Does your team want to do or care about the team as much as you do? Want your team to win as much as you do? Want everything to happen as much as you do? And the question for most of the PSL teams is no. I think what's shocking is that with Kaizer Chiefs, you know, it's shocking because we know what it was when it was good. We understand. We know what it felt like. You know, at Sundowns, the fans can't say anything because there's no complaint that somebody at Sundowns is not handling. We know what that Chiefs was. At least me, I knew what the Chiefs was and that they had the best interests of us and the team in mind. But right now, can we say that about our Kaizer Chiefs team? It's one thing to be, no disrespect to any of the others, Richards Bay, Chipa, those type of teams, where you may not have experienced the type of success that Kaizer Chiefs has experienced. So you have nothing to compare it to. But me, as a diehard Chiefs fan from when I was born a Chiefs fan, I look at them now and I ask questions. And these are simple questions. Guys, these are simple questions. Simple question. Why did you sign Pimenyimana? What did you see in him? What are you going to do to Shabalala? Shabalala is not the first child superstar that we've seen at Kaizer Chiefs. Abo Chabupula, Abo Khanye were brought into this team So the question is, what happened then? What happened to the old guard? It's not the first time that Kaizer Chiefs are signing guys that maybe we don't understand why they're signing. Nimak did amazingly when they got to Kaizer Chiefs and we're like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. But now we're living in a world where Kaizer Chiefs, right now, 6 games in, is 10 points behind the Sundowns. 10 points. Currently, 6 games in, 10 points. We live in a world where last season, Sundowns won the league by 16 points. And that's Pirates. Pirates was second to Sundowns by 16 points. I don't even want to speak about where we were. So I think that's why we complain and we make a noise and all of that stuff. And that's why there's no patience and no time and no whatever. I don't know, guys. Maybe the people who are here, can remind me. Maybe I was too young. Is there a time where Kaizer came out in the media and said, hey guys, let's give the coach time. Hey guys, look, we're going through a tough time right now, but we'll be fine. Hey guys, social media. I don't remember any time when that happened. You'd see something and you'd see them change it and you'd see them win the next season. Oh, as we now this season, we're changing it, we're going to win next season. They didn't have to speak to me. How many times do you think Sundowns speaks to its fans right now? This Sundowns that's running now. So if all of a sudden Sundowns fell off, wouldn't the fans be right to say, Mara guys, there's the 2023, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, when we now, what happened now? That's what's happening with Kaizer Chiefs. So that's why I'm like, I'm not one who's fine with, hey, we played well. Hey, we created chances. Here's the guys. That's not the Chiefs that I knew. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be back later with a bit of a surprise. We'll see. So how will we have South African players when they don't give them a chance? But I'll see you guys later. So thank you. If you have not followed, please follow. Also support the account, and then also support on Facebook and YouTube, because there's some other content there, and also the other shows are there in full with the panels and everybody speaking. Tonight we're going to speak about agents. I'm going to have an agent on, an actual PSL agent on, that we can find out, issues around Lama transfer and all of these things, and maybe we can learn a little something a bit later. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys later. Like I said, Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon. Monday to Wednesday, 8 p.m. And also we do watch-alongs of the big 3 matches, Sundowns, Pirates, and Kaizer Chiefs. So we do watch-alongs of that where possible. But I do tell you when that happens. But thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I'll see you guys later on tonight, 8 p.m.